Good day everyone, I am Kris Malinao and this is our video presentation together with Mr. Jerwin Gupong and facilitating learner-centered teaching. And now, I am going to discuss the narrative report of our activity, which is the metacognitive observation. As our activity, we conduct an interview with my partner, Mr. Jerwin Gupong, as what our teacher, Ms. Maria Jella S. Mendoza, and facilitating learner-centered teaching is stated. The word interview refers to a one-on-one conversation between an interviewer and an interviewed. In this activity, to make it easy for the both of us, we decided to interview 1:1, and for remaining one is where we can interview by the both of us. In the process of having a plan, we choose to decide on what stories we are going to tell to our interviewee. I decided to tell the story from the Bible, which is prepared for the children from 4 to 12 years old, while Mr. Gupong get his story from the internet, which is accurate to the level of the child he is going to interview. In conducting the interview, we have different experiences. As what Mr. Gupong said, 3 children refused to answer his interview because he interviewed the age of children from 4 to 6 years old. But in my case, I easily get the child to answer my interview. The child who is 7 to 9 years old and the older one. But after we conduct the interview and get their answers, when editing their answer, I noticed that the youngest is more attentive because they get a lot of lists of the word they remember than the older one. After the interview we conduct, we think that the learning of the student is also affected by the person who are teaching them or who are interviewing them. If they are comfortable with you, they can easily learn and focus to the learnings. Because when we interview the older one, which is interviewed by the both of us, I noticed that she is affected by the presence of Mr. Gupong because she doesn't know him. So for me or for us, we should need to have a good relationship first to our learners so they are comfortable to learn with us.
Good day, ma'am. My name is Jerwin Gupong. So this is my reflection about our interview. This is the first question. How accurate were the children in predicting how well they would remember the word list? How well did they remember the list? Were they able to tell you what they did to remember the word after repeating the list? Were there any differences in age in terms of how accurate their predictions or their lists were? So this is my answer for number 1. Being a child, they have a way on how to remember the word. They have a talent on how to remember. For me, every child has a talent on how they accurate to remember. It depends for them because sometimes they feel nervous. Because of that, they hesitate for their answer. Yes, they did to tell us what they do to remember the word. But said earlier, they have way on how to remember. For me, they have a different says on how accurate their answer. Question number 2. How well did the children do in retelling the story? Did the children tend to tell the story in the correct order or in the order you told it? Were the age differences in how they responded here? So this is my answer for response for question number 2. For me, they need a guide or person that already know them to show their potential, because sometimes we know that they feel nervous, shy, and so on. Yes, they have a talent to retell the story. On how we tell the story, they tell also too, but not totally clearly. Question number 3. Consider the older children's responses to the questions about memory and reading. Given their responses, how well do schools seems to support children developing metacognitive strategies for memory and reading? Did the children have a sense of which way they learn best? Do the same thing to think that teacher helped them with this? How effective do schools seem to be in creating, supporting, and appreciation of reading in children? Do the children seem to see teachers being helpful in these areas? This is my reflection or my answer. We know that children have their own intelligence and abilities to read and especially to remember things. We cannot simply know if they are really good just by their responses, because sometimes they are also based on situation. Yes, the teachers can help them, but the efficiency of how to use it is still up to them. We know that learning is the most effective way to develop the knowledge of children. Yes, because they themselves experience being taught and given the right guidance on things. That's all.